Hello everyone, welcome back to Lucky Crit. Over the past few months, the official Fire Emblem Japanese Twitter account has been slowly releasing character bios for the various characters in Fire Emblem Three Houses. As of this past weekend, they finally finished covering the initial cast that has been revealed. From the E3 2019 Treehouse gameplay we were shown, we do know that there will be more recruitable characters within the game, as we've seen a few of their faces very briefly when looking around at the various areas of the monastery, and there's definitely more new teachers that may be recruitable that we don't know too much about just yet either, so it's quite possible that we'll continue to see further information on these characters up to the game's launch, though I hope that they don't reveal everyone. But for now, since we've got all of the bios for everyone that we've been officially shown so far, it's time to go through them all. If you've yet to see my Which House to Choose video, you can do so by clicking here. I hope it'll help you settle on a house to pick for the game if you're struggling with your decision. However, since we've got some new bios and character info that's come out since that video, I'm hoping that this one will be a complimentary video to that one, and fill in some of those missing blanks. Since we haven't been getting these bios in English, and the official Three Houses English website is rather lackluster, these translations are thanks to both Vincent ASM of Serenus Forest and Satsuma FS on Twitter. Thanks guys. Now let's get started. First off, we have the protagonist, known as Byleth or Byleth, who is originally a member of a mercenary band led by their father, Geralt. However, when they rescue students from the Officers' Academy from bandits, their unique power is recognized, and they're invited to become a teacher at the Garreg Monastery. Next, we have Sophist, who is an enigmatic being that appears in the protagonist's dreams. After saving the protagonist with the power to rewind time, she speaks to them as if she's inside their head, and nobody else can see or hear her. She has no recollection of her identity, and has the body of a young girl, but the tone of an old lady. Starting off with the Black Eagles, we have Edelgard von Hresvelg, who is the Imperial Princess of the Adrestian Empire, a mighty nation with a rich history, and its next emperor. Within the Black Eagles, she's the house leader. She has an extremely noble and dignified heir to her, and is able to calmly assess and act upon the situation and the people around her. Next is Hubert von Besla, and Hubert is the strategist of the Black Eagles. He's the heir to Marquess Besla's family, and has served Edelgard from a young age. He'll use any means necessary to eliminate her obstacles. According to Edelgard, he's a cool-headed and rational person. And now we've got Dorothea Arnold, who is a female student who was a popular songstress in the Imperial capital before she enrolled in the Officers' Academy. She admires Manuela, who also came from the same Middle Frank opera company as her senior. She is the only commoner in the Black Eagles, which makes her feel uneasy, but she treats all of her similarly aged friends as equals. Next up is Ferdinand von Aegir, who's the eldest son of Duke Aegir's family, a renowned family where the title of Imperial Chancellor is passed down. He is very proud of his family's status as high-class nobility. He's very confident and hates losing. Princess Edelgard's brilliance ignites a sense of rivalry and competitiveness within him. Now we've got Bernadette von Varley, the only daughter of Count Varley's family. She's extremely shy towards strangers, and because she's far from home, her one safe haven is her room within the dormitory. Except for attending lectures, she tends to confine herself to her room, devoting herself to her hobbies and pastimes. Now there's Casper von Bergliez, who's the second son of Count Bergliez's family. Since he's not in line to succeed his family, he decided to train at the Officers' Academy to become a successful martial artist. His quick temper is his only flaw. Otherwise, he has a keen sense of justice that despises lies and injustice, and is an honest and straightforward guy. Next we have Petra McNary, who's the granddaughter of the King of the Brigid Archipelago, a group of islands to the west of Fodlan. Because Brigid is a vassal of the Empire, as a symbol of that loyalty, Petra was sent from her homeland to study abroad at the Officers' Academy. She's unaccustomed to the spoken language of Fodlan, but she has been trying her best to learn. And lastly, we have Linhardt von Hevering, the heir to Count Hevering's family. He's the type that prefers freedom over restriction. One could also call him incredibly lazy, as despite his brilliant mind, he's always sleepy. He does, however, have a keen interest in crest research, to the point where he'll often forget to eat or sleep. Although he and Casper have totally different hobbies and personalities, they somehow get along well. And starting off with the Blue Lions, we have Dmitry Alexander Blydid, who is the next king of the Holy Kingdom of Fargus, the realm of noble knights, and the house leader of the Blue Lions. He's a sincere young man who embodies chivalry, but at times a faint shadow can be felt behind his cheeriness. Next up, there's Dedue Molinaro, who's a commoner born in Daska, in the northwestern region of Fargus, and a servant of Dmitry. He owes a great debt to Dmitry, and has resolved to protect him at the cost of his own life. Because he's a bit scary looking and quiet, he is often misunderstood, but he is actually a gentle and nice young man. Next we've got Felix Hugo Fraldarius, the eldest son of the house of Duke Fraldarius. He has a mean attitude, calling his childhood friend Dmitry a bore, and is hard to approach. He's sarcastic and fashions himself a lone wolf. but he takes his sword training seriously, so much so that he'll challenge any strong person he meets to a bout immediately. Then we've got Mercedes von Maltritz, a kind woman who carefully observes her surroundings and is unable to ignore people in need. She is a former Adrestian noble, but chose to live in the Holy Kingdom of Fargus as a commoner. Previously, she was enrolled in the Magic Academy in the royal capital. She claims to be a little older than the other students. Next there's Ash Duran, the adopted son of Sir Lenato, ruler of Gaspard Castle in the Holy Kingdom of Fargus. He feels immense gratitude and respect for Sir Lenato, who took him in, raised him as his own, and sent him to the Officers' Academy, all despite him being a commoner. He is a serious young man who studies and trains diligently so he can become an admirable adult like his adoptive father. Next is Annette Fantine Dominique, the niece of Baron Dominique. She graduated from the Magic Academy in the royal capital with flying colors. She's a cheerful and hardworking girl, but she can often waste her energy and end up nowhere. Mercedes is a close friend of hers from their Magic Academy days, and they affectionately call each other Mercy and Anne. Next up is Sylvain Jose Gauche, the heir of the remote earldom of Gauche. He values his friends and is widely looked up to as a dependable big brother figure by his classmates. Yet at the same time, he's a bit of a hopeless womanizer who loves flirting with girls, which causes him endless trouble. He had an older brother who was disowned because he lacked a crest. And lastly, for the Blue Lions, we have Ingrid Brundle Galatea, a lady from Count Galatea's family. Dmitry, Felix, Sylvain, and her are all childhood friends. Seeing her serious attitude and admiration of virtuous knights, Dmitry has always said, "You're more of a knight than you think." However, once she lays eyes on delicious food, she forgets about everything else. And now with the Golden Deer we have Claude Von Regan, who is the heir to the renowned Regan family, which leads the Leicester Alliance, a new power formed by the nobility. He serves as the house leader of the Golden Deer. While he's memorable for his sociable smile and easygoing attitude, he also harbors a cunning side, calling himself someone unable to be trusted. First up is Lorenz Herman Gloucester, the heir of Count Gloucester's family. He's a serious fellow despite his outward snobbishness, and he's aware of his pride and responsibility as a noble. It seems he has been approaching several girls at the monastery to little success. It might not just be his snobbishness that's scaring them away. Next up is Hilde Valentin Goneril, the only daughter of Duke Goneril's family line. Perhaps because of how she was pampered by her father and brother, she has a habit of slacking off, and is good at acting cute and sweet-talking others. She's notable for her easygoing and frivolous manner, and can be summarized as a typical nobleman's daughter. She enjoys fashionable and glamorous things. Next up there's Rafael Kirsten, the son of a merchant from Leicester. Both of his parents died in an unfortunate accident, and he's been through a lot. But he's an optimistic fellow who's only concerned about what's on the menu and his daily muscle building to become an exemplary knight. He doesn't seem very interested in lectures. Next up is Athiya Van Cordelia, the eldest daughter of Count Cordelia's family. And if that isn't an Awakening reference, I don't know what is. She is a mere 15 years old, the youngest among the students admitted into the academy this year. She is a prodigy whose skills in magic developed at an early age, but she remains a hard worker who isn't conceited about her own talent. Despite this, she still has a childish side, not wanting to be seen as a child and also having a fear of ghosts. Then there's Ignatz Victor, the second son of a merchant family within the Alliance. His older brother is set to inherit the family business, so his parents wished for him to enter the Officers' Academy to become a knight, although deep down there are other things he'd rather do with his life. He is a kind-hearted person who loves the beauty of nature and art. Next up there's Marianne von Edmund, the adopted daughter of the faraway Earl of Edmund. She doesn't interact with others much, so there are many who haven't even heard her voice before. At the same time, she loves birds and animals, and opens her heart and talks with them. She is extremely devout, and offers prayers to the goddess every day. And lastly, there's Leone Pinelli, a hunter's daughter hailing from Samain village within the Alliance. To become a money-making mercenary, she enrolled in the Officers' Academy with money loaned from her village. She trains hard every day and lives modestly so that she can repay her village's money and goodwill. She calls Geralt her master, as he inspired her to be a mercenary, and names herself his top disciple. And now for the Church of Seiros we have Rhea, the Archbishop and Supreme Ruler of the Church of Seiros. She has held this position since Geralt's days as a knight. She recognizes the protagonist's potential and invites them to teach at the Officers' Academy. Like a loving mother, she is kind and gentle to others, but she has a harsh side as well, capably passing down judgment to those that would oppose the Church. Now for the Officers' Academy we have Manuela, a former songstress who once stood at the pinnacle of the Middle Frank Opera Company in the imperial capital. Now she is a teacher and doctor for the Officers' Academy. She has often been seen on the Academy grounds lamenting her inability to find the man of her dreams. She has a crude side to her, but she is good at taking care of others, and is friendly to the new teacher, the protagonist. Next there's Hanuman, a teacher at the Officers' Academy who's also a scholar, researching the crests bestowed by the goddess. He's usually calm, but when it comes to the topic of crests, he can get quite absorbed and forget everything else. It's hard for him to hide the thrill behind his intellectual curiosity, especially towards the unknown crest that the protagonist bears. It seems he doesn't quite get along with Manuela, his colleague. Now for the Knights of Saros, we have Catherine, a graduate of the Officers' Academy at the Garrigmach Monastery, and a member of the Knights of Saros. She is a master swordswoman that wields Raite, lightning, one of the legendary weapons known as hero relics. She has sworn her loyalty to the Archbishop Rhea. Then we've got Geralt, the father of the protagonist. He's a veteran warrior who once served as the captain of the Knights of Saros, and is regarded as the strongest knight in history. After leaving the Knights, he continued his journey alongside his newly established band of mercenaries. His wife has since passed away. After the students are rescued from the bandit attack, he uses the opportunity to return to the Knights. Now diving into the more sinister factions, first off we have the Flame Emperor, a mysterious figure operating in secrecy behind the scenes of the monastery. Although their emotions are hidden behind their mask, it's clear that they're no friends of the church. For some reason, they ordered bandits to attack students when they were out camping, but their plan was foiled by the protagonist. Afterwards, they have become cautious of, yet intrigued by, the protagonist. What could their goal be? Next is the Death Knight. They say an ominous armored knight, wielding a massive scythe like a Grim Reaper, spirits people away during the middle of the night. That is the very convincing rumor of the Death Knight, told in the streets of Garrigmach. But it turns out that those weren't just rumors, and the knight appears as a very real threat. And most recently, we finally have a bio for these three, at least just a very simple little bio, and these three are called Those Who Slither in the Dark. Kronya, Solon, and Thales are part of Those Who Slither in the Dark. This mysterious group has set into motion a plan of sorts, but to what end? Thales is the central figure of Those Who Slither in the Dark. To accomplish a certain plan, he works in the shadows along with Solon and Kronya. Kronya seems like a cheerful young girl, but her smile exudes childlike cruelty and scorn. For Solon, as befitting his appearance as an old mage, he uses cunning tactics and techniques. These are all characters that we've seen in the second and third trailers, Kronya being the girl whose eye was shown briefly in trailer 2, Solon was the old man talking about the Fell Star in trailer 3, check out my trailer 3 breakdown and analysis if you haven't yet, and Thales is the one using the magical glyph, and also looks like an undead version of Geralt. I think with this art here, he no longer looks that much like Geralt. It might just seem that way since it's the same artist drawing and designing all of these characters, and with this official art he looks a bit scrawnier, or maybe Thales is some sort of distant relative to Geralt and Byleth, like a grandfather perhaps. This would also make sense if the goal of Those Who Slither in the Dark is to bring back Nemesis, he who appears to be Byleth's distant ancestor. Could Geralt be the strongest knight in history because of his blood relation to Nemesis? Kronya also appears to be the woman being choked in the most recent third trailer. Initially I thought it might have been Catherine, but considering Kronya seems to have the weird zigzaggy tail thing that's a part of her outfit, it seems incredibly likely that this is actually her. Now, is this Thales choking her then? Is this how she's originally recruited into the bad guys? Through force? Or maybe she's made a mistake and failed to deal with Byleth and the students, and Thales is punishing her. I guess we won't know for sure till the game comes out on July 26th. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can do me a solid and slash the thumbs up down below. If you'd like to download and share any of the images that I put together for this video, please visit the dedicated link in the video description. You can also get subscribed for more Fire Emblem Three Houses coverage up to the launch of the game, and hopefully some helpful guides to come after it's out. Be sure to follow us on Twitter for the latest Fire Emblem Three Houses news and updates as they come, and you can also come chat with us on our Discord server if you want to talk Fire Emblem Three Houses and other games with our community there. And a huge thank you to all of my amazing patrons that help to make content like this possible. You guys are the real MVPs. And I'll see you all next time.